If you want an actual makeup tutorial of the mob wife makeup look, you found the right video. I'm gonna walk you through this. I already have a pretty amazing tip for you. So I have some micellar water here on my C30, and obviously my brows are already done. We're gonna go more full coverage with the foundation. So I wanna make sure that there's no brow product buildup around the brow. I'm not carving it out. What I'm doing is making sure there's no gel, because sometimes that can cake up around our brows and we don't even notice it. Next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and put on our liner first. I know this is wild. Also, this is one of my favorite liners of all time. And do you notice how many times I just went back? I went back as few as possible. If you're having issues with your liner kind of transferring, moving around your face, what happens is when we continue to go back and forth with our liner, it's going to start to mix with the tears of our eyes. The more passes you have to make, the more the water from your eyes changing the formula. It might not be why it's wearing as long. Since this look is pretty glam, we're going to go more full coverage with our eyeshadow base. We're going to come back with that eye pencil in just a second and smudge a little bit more. Kind of doing all of our pre-smudge work. We're taking this all the way up to the brow bone. Actually, because of this wet base, I'm just going to be able to kind of reactivate that liner and start our smudge a little bit more. The closer you can get to the lash line in doing this technique is really what makes that very smudgy eye look that we're after. So we're using this wet eyeshadow base to our advantage. We're going to use an e.l.f. eyeshadow palette. Grab this shade on a very small brush. We're going to create definition before we start to blend and soften. But what we are going to do is connect this to this, press it into that base. Now we need a brown with a little bit more red in it. And you might be thinking, red? Well, that's going to tie it into that more burgundy brown lip later. The shadow's just on one side of a larger brush now. We're going to use that side of the brush to just press this right above the first shade that we laid down. Just take your time, transition it. We're also setting that eyeshadow base as we go, and we're just going to get the most beautiful even blend. I am going to dip back in a couple times, but just keep tapping to transition. And all I do is just keep tapping, and we still have really nice definition in our crease. Tap it over this way, and we're almost done with the eye. Then grab this shade on the side of the brush, and we're gonna pack that all over our lid. Don't mind it if it melts into our crease color. That's gonna look really nice and smudgy. It's all about the smudgy. Taking a little bit of this shade now, I'm gonna highlight the center of my lid, and then I'm gonna go ahead and finish off the brow bone, kind of blur it over this way and then blur it over this way. We're gonna add one more layer of that same liner. The more layers, the more dimension you're gonna have. This look is definitely about layered liner. Black eyeshadow on an E27. Now we're just gonna do one last smudge and set. This look is all about blurred edges. So we're gonna take micellar water, we're gonna take it on a very fluffy brush. And the fluffy brush is important because we're gonna have a more diffused look. We're gonna take it through here, we're gonna tap out all of this. We don't want a really sharp line. We want it to kind of melt into the foundation in just a second. So we're gonna do a pre-clean this way. We're gonna melt that eyeshadow base there, kind of melt it in here. It's all about the melt. So I added a lash, but I really want to make sure that my natural lashes are really melted into the falsie. So I'm adding a little bit of this MAC dry shampoo because it's going to not change the shape of them too drastically. We want to go heavy, and we want to go a little warmer than usual with our bronzer. We also want to layer for dimension, so underpainting is going to give us really nice dimension. And don't forget that bronzer can migrate, and by migrate, I mean it can go higher on the cheekbone. Contour is what we like to keep more controlled. So let's just go ahead. Don't be frightened. This look is definitely glam, and this bronzer is going to give us that glam. We're going to do our concealer, and this is just going to melt together so beautifully. I'm telling you, everything about this look is just all about melting. Now we're just going to blend out the concealer. I'll let this run so you can really see the blend start to happen. See how beautiful that is? But we definitely want to go around it first. And I do recommend your concealer brush to do this. We want a little bit more control at this stage. Take your time. Now we take our foundation brush and we go over these larger parts. Seamless. Couple dots in the lash line of our pencil. Then we're going to use that wet concealer under here to our advantage to smudge. So this is a cool tip. I have my setting powder here, but then I'm also going to take the eyeshadow that I'm going to set this with, grab it just on the tip of the puff, and we're going to take this and we're double setting as we go, mixing the eyeshadow in with the powder. We're not going to have any smudging underneath here. This look requires every bronzer in your collection. So now we're going to take that and I'm going to stamp it out this way. It's just going to add a nice little sultry lift to the face. See that difference? I love this tip so much. Makeup by Mario lip liner in the shade Jeff. And then I'm going to take the shade Smoky Pink and blend it out a little bit more. Top that with the lipstick shade South Shore. And there you have it. If you feel like participating in this trend, just go ahead and save this video for later.